Welcome to Spectrum TV News at 9. I am Uyai and here can come to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu removes all service chiefs. INEC presiding officers tell court only presidential election results refuse to upload. Plus, Macron ally causes stir with proposal to abolish presidential term limit. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. We'll begin with the breaking news where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the immediate retirement of all service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police, advisors, Controller General of Customs from service, as well as their replacements with immediate effect. It is to be noted that the appointed service chiefs, the Inspector General of Police and the Controller General of Customs are to act in their capacity and positions pending their confirmation in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu is due to embark on his first official foreign travel for signing of a new global financial pact in Paris, the capital of France, between June 22 and 23rd. President Tinubu, who will be jetting out of the country on Tuesday with members of the Presidential Policy Advisory Council, will return to the country on Saturday. According to a statement by his special advisor on special duties, communication and strategy, Dele Alake, the new financial pact to be signed at the event will place the vulnerable countries at its heart. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu today met with the co-founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates, and the chairman of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote. Tinubu met with Gates and Dangote at the presidential villa in Abuja. The meeting was disclosed by Tinubu's media aide, Dayo Olusegun, via his Twitter handle. It will be recalled that last week Dangote disclosed that Tinubu would meet with Gates today. From the Red Chambers now, where the Senate President Godswill Akpabio has assured Nigerians and the international business community of the readiness of the 10th National Assembly to work with the President Bola Tinubu-led administration to provide an enabling business environment and also to make life worth living for the generality of Nigerians. Akpabio gave the assurance in his goodwill message at the reception dinner in honor of the newly appointed Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, in Abuja. The Senate President, while describing Akume as a man of excellence, said Nigerians are in for the best under the leadership of the current administration.
We just said that it is customary that we come to a place like this, we should also pay you respect, to wish the good people are going to say well, and to assure you that the government who sent us to come and control the people of the state and the Naman Council. It's very poised to change and we require the cooperation of all the stakeholders and practitioners, governance in Nigeria, irrespective of political party. We believe strongly that if his policies are able to be interpreted and they dovetail to the grassroots through the offices. We just said that it is customary that we come to a place like this, we should not.
From the Green Chambers, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, and the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, have paid a thank you visit to Senator Oluremi Tinubu, wife of President Bola Tinubu, pledging that the 10th Assembly will work for the growth of all Nigerians. According to a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the Speaker on Media and Publicity, Musa Krishi, The overwhelming mandate given to him by members of the House would spur him to work with every member to achieve a Nigeria that every citizen desires. Abbas said they did not take the First Lady's support for granted, stating that the 10th House would give the Tinubu-led administration all the support to succeed. Meanwhile, President Tinubu, in his remark, congratulated the Speaker and his deputy on their victory, adding that with the caliber of leadership and membership of the 10th Assembly, Nigeria would be great again. On judicial matters, the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal (PEPT) has again adjourned the petition filed before it by the Allied People's Movement (APM) till June 21 for hearing. The court had fixed June 19 to commence hearing of the petition filed by the APM challenging the victory of President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima of the All Progressives Congress (APC) in the February 25 election. At the resumed hearing, the party asked for a one-week adjournment, which was turned down by the court. Reports say the party had applied to the court for a date to commence hearing of its petition against the results of the presidential election, which had earlier been delayed over their inability to obtain a Supreme Court judgment. However, the presiding judge, Haruna Samani, after listening to the APM and lawyers from INEC and APC, granted the application and adjourned the case till Wednesday, June 21 for commencement of hearing. Still in judiciary, the National Industrial Court today declared that the order barring the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress from embarking on their planned strike subsists. The court, as a result, ordered that parties maintain the status quo and adjourned the matter until July 20 for a hearing. During the proceedings, the federal government's counsel, Achum Emmanuel, informed the courts that he was ready to proceed with his application. He told the courts that the matter was scheduled for today for the claimant to take its motion on notice for an interlocutory injunction to restrain the defendants from embarking on strike. On his part, the defendants' counsel, Marshal Abubakar, reminded the courts that they had filed an application praying the courts to vacate the order which restrained the organized union from embarking on strike. Abubakar further said that the claimant was served the application on June 8, only for them to serve a counter affidavit today in court. On electoral matters, 3 presiding officers of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) today told the Presidential Election Petition Court (PEPC) that the refusal of the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System (BVAS) to transmit the presidential election results on election day frustrated their jobs. The officers admitted that the results of the Senate and the House of Representatives election were transmitted unhindered and that the problems of technical hitches arose at the point of transmitting only the presidential poll results. Testifying on subpoena at the ongoing hearing of petitions challenging the outcome of the February 25 presidential election, the 3 witnesses admitted that the election process went well until the period the BVAS machines refused to work. The 3 witnesses are Janet Nuhu Turaki, Christopher Bulus Ado, and Victoria Sani, who served as INEC's presiding officers at Yobe, Bauchi, Katsina State, respectively. Still on electoral matters, the new Nigeria People's Party (NNPP) has tasked the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to conduct credible elections in the forthcoming governorship elections in Bayelsa, Kogi, and Imo State. NNPP also tasked the INEC to adequately test run the bimodal voters authorized the 2023 general election. The NNPP's National Publicity Secretary, Agbo Major, made the remarks at a news conference in Abuja. At the conference, Major explained that NNPP demanded free, fair, credible, transparent, inclusive, and peaceful governorship elections in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa states, adding that the INEC should provide a free playing field to all political parties and their candidates participating in the polls and ensure the people's mandates are respected. In education, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, the ASU National President Emmanuel Osadike said it would have been better if the monies are given to those set of students who are very poor. According to him, there are more than 1 million students in Nigerian public universities, and the loan cannot adequately cater for students' tuition. Osadike noted that the conditions for the loan is impracticable and unsustainable, adding that more than 90% of students will not meet the stringent requirements to access and repay the loan. In a separate development, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has predicted cloudiness and thunderstorms from today to Wednesday across the country. The NIMET weather outlook predicted a cloudy atmosphere today with patches of clouds over the northern region with prospects of thunderstorms over parts of Adamawa, Kaduna and Taraba State. NIMET also forecast thunderstorms over parts of Sokoto, Zamfara, Borno, Taraba, Adamawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Bauchi, Jigawa, Gombe and Kebbi State. Later in the day, and cloudy atmosphere over parts of inland states of south and coastal cities in the morning, with chances of isolated thunderstorms over parts of Lagos, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Delta and Bayelsa states. According to the agency, thunderstorms are expected over the entire region later in the day. On security, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has raised the alarm about the increasing activities of human traffickers operating through northern borders. The Director General of NAPTIP, Fatima Waziri Aziz, disclosed this while speaking with newsmen on the sidelines of the just concluded inaugural Joint Technical Working Group meeting on a memorandum signed between Nigeria and the Gambia held in Abuja. Waziri Aziz said it had been observed that human traffickers were now favoring the northern borders as opposed to the southern borders part of the country, like the Seme border, to smuggle people out of Nigeria. But in the past 5 years, traffickers have moved from the southwest region of Nigeria to the northwest region of the country. Still on security matters, the General Officer Commanding 1 Division GOC, Nigerian Army, Major General Olufemi Akinjobi, says the Army has adopted realistic training that will enhance its operations against insecurity. The GOC stated this at the 1 Division Operation Planning Kader for officers within the 1 Division area of responsibility on Monday in Kaduna. Reports say the 5-day training has brought together participants of the ranks of captains to colonels in the 1 Division area of responsibility. Akinjobi said the workshop was organized to refresh the personnel on the various aspects of the operations and planning process in order to enhance their skills and improve their capacity in the single and joint service operations planning process. According to him, warfare has become increasingly complex due to changes in the nature of threats and technological advancements. Away from that, Governor Mai Melabuni of Yobe has appointed Baba Wali as the acting secretary to the state government SSG. This is contained in a statement by Buni's Director General Press and Media Affairs, Maman Mohammed in Damaturu today. According to the statement, the governor has also approved the appointment of Abdullahi Gaswa as his acting chief of staff COS. The statement said both appointments were with immediate effect. In other developments, Governor Agbu Kefas of Taraba State has approved the immediate dissolution of all existing boards and commissions in the state, as well as caretaker committee chairmen of the 16 local government councils. The directive, which came today from the governor, said all boards and commissions still existing in the state under any description are dissolved with immediate effect. The dissolution was contained in a statement signed by the Secretary to the State Government SSG, Barrister Gbegbon Katabs. According to the statement, they were also ordered to execute the directive within 48 hours from the date of the announcement. Still to come in the news. South African billionaire now richest person in Africa. Stay tuned for details after this time out. Thanks for staying tuned, and now we move to the rest of the stories. In Africa, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says Sudan has descended into debt in Geneva, organized by the United Nations, Egypt, Germany, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, as well as the African Union and the European Union. The United Nations says it is appealed for $3 billion of funding this year, but that less than 17% has been provided. Meanwhile, the conference comes midway through a 3-day ceasefire between the rival military factions. Several previous truces have broken down. Still in Africa, France will offer Tunisia 25.8 million euros to help it stop boats carrying migrants across the Mediterranean. French Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin said during a visit to Tunis today. The money will pay for equipment and training and comes in addition to a 105 million euros European Union package that the EU Commission President announced earlier this month to help Tunisia tackle a big rise in migrant departures. According to reports, perilous sea crossings, often on crowded, flimsy boats, have led to a terrible toll on drownings, as well as a big increase in migrant arrivals in Italy this year, causing political ructions in Europe. Meanwhile, last week's sinking of a boat carrying hundreds of migrants from Libya to Greece underscored the risk of the crossing. Meanwhile, Pope Francis has led prayers at the Vatican for the victims of an Islamist attack on a school in Uganda. Reports say about 40 people, mostly students, were hacked, shot and burned to death in the western town of Mumpueni. Meanwhile, the Ugandan army has said it's pursuing the militants from a group known as the ADF. According to the armies, the militants kidnapped 6 students before escaping across the border into the Democratic President Yoweri Museveni says he is no longer infected with COVID-19. Museveni said that after 11 days of testing positive, he is now a veteran graduate of the war with the virus. He urged Ugandans to follow his health strategy by avoiding risk factors such as smoking and alcohol. Elsewhere, a Kenyan cabinet minister is being accused of forcing her way into and then occupying a member of parliament's house in the capital, Nairobi, that she intends to buy labor of the house after signing a sale agreement with the member of parliament's lawyers. She said the agreement allowed her to occupy the house in the upmarket Karen suburb while she sought a mortgage to pay the rest of the amount in 90 days. But Edward Muriu, a ruling party member of parliament for Katanga in neighboring Kiambu, the minister to produce any documents showing proof that they had signed the deal or that she paid the amount she alleges to have paid as deposit. Meanwhile, at least 2 Kenyan soldiers were reported that the soldiers were killed in an ambush as they responded to an attack on a paramilitary general service unit GSU team who were part of a joint task force securing the area. Reports say the GSU had been in an armored personnel carrier vehicle when the by suspected Al-Shabaab militants in Lamu in recent weeks. Still in Africa, the jail sentence of a prominent independent journalist in Algeria, Aysan Al-Kadi, has been substantially increased this year on charges of receiving foreign financing for the independent media group he owns. His sentence has been raised to 7 years with suit to close down his media company. Meanwhile, his lawyers denied the charges, saying that the only foreign transfer of money came from his daughter, who is a partner in the company and lives in the UK. Affirm its sovereignty to be the sole masters of their destiny after Mali's foreign minister Abdoulaye Diop called on the United Nations to General Aldero is quoted by newsmen as saying it was a courageous decision. It will be recalled that earlier this year, Burkina Faso had asked a small French force to leave its borders. Meanwhile, Mali's foreign minister accused the UN force MINUSMA Secretary Council. MINUSMA has more than 13,000 troops, but its decade-old mission has failed to stop the spread of jihadist violence. Still in Africa, has been replaced by Ibrahim Sheikh Mundine Ado. It comes as the government prepares a new offensive against Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab. According to reports, earlier this month, they attacked a beachside hotel in the capital Shells, which exploded while they were playing. Al-Shabaab was blamed for their deaths. Moving now to the foreign scene, one of French President Emmanuel Macron's closest political ally in office, former Member of Parliament and Parliamentary Speaker Richard Ferrand, told newsmen today that he was against the constitutional limit of 2 terms that was introduced in 2014 that prevents members of parliament and senators from also serving as mayors or heads of region. Meanwhile, speaks and language of authoritarian leaders. Still on the foreign scene, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he has spoken with UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, emphasizing the need to increase sanction pressure on Russia. The Ukraine leader thanked Sunak for reports say UK has supplied Kyiv with Storm Shadow missiles, which have a longer range than other Western supplied rockets and missiles. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State stabilized their troubled relations. Blinken stressed that direct engagement and sustained communication at senior levels is the best way to responsibly manage their differences and ensure that competition does not veer into conflict. According to reports, during his 2-day visit, Blinken met with Pyongyang. In the meantime, Israeli helicopter gunships struck targets today in the occupied West Bank as a gun battle raged in the city. The violence marked a rare use of Israeli air power in the territory. During the clashes, Palestinian militants detonated a roadside bomb next to an Israeli military vehicle. Of Israeli soldiers were hurt. Meanwhile, the escalation was the latest in more than a year of nearly daily violence that has raked the West Bank. The Israeli military said troops came under fire during an arrest raid in Jenin and shot back but did not provide more details. Elsewhere, the Paris Air Show opens today after a 4-year break, with the aerospace industry bouncing back from the COVID-19 pandemic but under pressure to slash its carbon footprint. Organizers have built the biennial event as the Recovery Air Show after the coronavirus ravaged the sector and saw the event cancelled in 2021. The aerospace industry is flocking back to Libourg Airport outside Paris as aircraft reports say Russia's war in Ukraine has also led countries to step up military spending, which could benefit aerospace defense firms. in Quark Hill, a port city, in the grips of a wave of violence perpetrated by drug traffickers. Police Colonel Marcelo Castillo told gangs the 6 injured are all in stable condition. It will be recalled that 2 weeks ago, a policeman and 4 other people were killed and 8 injured when 3 men opened fire in a house in Quark Hill in the southwest of the South American country. According to reports, these kinds of attacks have become ever more frequent, leaving a trail of cops in their wake. Meanwhile, a gunman opened fire today in a school he used to attend in southern Brazil, killing 1 pupil and wounding another before being arrested in the metropolitan area, saying he needed a transcript but took out a gun once inside and began shooting. Brazilian media reports said the shooter was 21. A 16-year-old female student was killed and a male student taken to the hospital with gunshots. Still on the foreign scene, voters in Switzerland have backed a new climate bill designed to cut fossil fuel use and reach net zero carbon emissions. It smelt rapidly in the Swiss Alps. It said the law will require a move away from dependence on imported oil and gas towards the use of renewable sources. Meanwhile, opponents had urged that the measures would push. Here is Blessing Dixon.
Thank you, Uyai and Yekan. Good evening. It's another business day. My name is Blessing Dixon. We begin with Forbes Billionaire Ranking, a league one on Africa's richest list. According to Forbes Billionaires Ranking, Dangote's net worth has dropped at 20.7% amid the Naira devaluation implemented by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The value of the Nigerian currency dropped by 40.5% since the devaluation took place per dollar from 471 naira per dollar on Tuesday as a result of the devaluation. Amidst the decline in the value of naira, which is the denomination Dangote's wealth is based on, although according to Bloomberg Billionaire Index, Dangote remains the richest man in Africa with $16.8 billion, recording a year-to-date loss or restrictions on domiciliary accounts, allowing individuals to withdraw up to $10,000 per day. Previously, Nigerians faced confusion and limitations when accessing cash from their new guidelines. Individuals can freely withdraw or transfer up to $10,000 daily from their domiciliary accounts with no restrictions on inflows or wire transfers. The move aims to enhance transparency, liquidity, and price. The World Bank Group has approved a loan of $750 million to boost Nigeria's power sector. The loan with project ID P174622 was approved on June 9, 2023, making it the first World Bank loan approved under the new administration of President Bola Tinubu. Information obtained from the website of the bank showed the fresh loan as additional financing for the power sector recovery performance-based operation, which was first approved on June 23, 2020. Now it's time for the Nigerian stock market report. Today is the first of the trading day of the week, and a benchmark all-share index inched up 15.16 basis points to close at 59,016.12 points. The current market capitalization of the Nigeria participated in trading, ending with 44 gainers and 23 losers. Tantalizers led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 22 kobo per share, while Ella Lakes came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation on 40 million traded shares, followed by Sterling Bank with 106 million, and Universal Insurance Company with 95.1 million traded shares. This is all on business news. Back to Uyai and Yekan for the rest of the news.
Thanks, Blessing Dixon. Still to come in the news. Nick Carragher's withdrawals from Cali opened with knee injury. Stay with us for details.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigerian, from issues on politics,
Hello, Nigeria. I remain committed.
security, education, health, lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
Thanks for staying tuned, and now to the rest of the news stories. In health, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control today announced the arrest of the popular Baban Aisha herbal medicine manufacturer Salisu Sani for operating with an expired license and running an illegal promotion of the company's products in Kaduna. This was even as the agency disclosed that it has commenced a crackdown on illegal herbal manufacturers and vendors to control the random use of illicit drugs. Addressing journalists in Abuja, NAFDAC boss Director General Professor Mojisola Adeyeye reiterated that the agency has a duty to regulate the manufacture, distribution, and advertisement and use of drugs, foods, and chemicals to protect Nigerians coming down with organ damage, stroke, or sudden death. Still in health, a health expert, Dr. David Pardee, has said that over 65% of Nigerian men were at risk of suffering from erectile dysfunction at the age of 40 and above. The medical expert attributed the situation to lack of regular exercise, continuous consumption of processed foods, eating and resting patterns, among other unhealthy habits. He stated this at a health sensitization program in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State, while calling for urgent measures to checkmate the issue. Pardee added that men who suffer from erectile dysfunction might be more at risk of stroke, heart disease, and premature death. Over now to Isaac for latest sports stories.
Well, thank you very much, Uyai. In sports, Nigeria says he will give himself every chance to be ready for Wimbledon after withdrawing from the Hale Open with an ongoing knee problem. The Australian, who's 28, underwent surgery on his left knee earlier this year. Runner-up at the All England Club last year, Nigeria has played just one match in the past 5 months. Nigeria suffered a first-round loss to China's Wu Yingbing at the Stuttgart Open last week, struggling with his movement during a straight defeat. He reached the semi-finals in Hale last year and then made a maiden Grand Slam final at the Wimbledon, where he lost to Novak Djokovic. Kyrgios is scheduled to play in Mallorca next week, while Wimbledon starts on the 3rd of July. In boxing, Saudi Arabia is doing all that it can to try to host the next huge fight in the world of boxing, and the kingdom is trying to secure Tyson Fury versus Usyk and Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. Some very clear steps are being taken by the Middle Eastern country to try and ensure that they are the facilitator of every major sporting event every year. This is shown by the advancement into football by Newcastle United, the LIV Golf, and the PGA Tour merger. and the decision to take some clubs under state control who are not trying to sign many European stars. This is also possible because no one else could match the riches of Saudi Arabia. Many big boxing fights have started to take place there, but now they want to stage the two biggest fights for a very long time. But in football, Eden Hazard has joked that he's been resting for 3 years following an injury-hit spell at Real Madrid, but insisted he's thinking about leaving football altogether after retiring from the Belgian national team. The forward, who is 32, left Madrid this month by mutual consent after his contract at the Bilbao was terminated a year earlier. Hazard retired from international football after the World Cup last year, and Belgium players, staff and fans paid tribute to the former captain during the 1-1 draw at the European Championship qualifiers against Austria on Saturday. Hazard made just 6 La Liga appearances last season, 2 of them starts, without scoring a single goal, bringing an end to disappointing 4 years in Madrid after joining the club from Chelsea in 2019. Well, finally, from the English Premier League scene, Bournemouth have appointed Anthony Iraola as the new head coach after sacking Gary O'Neill. Spaniard Iraola, who was previously wanted by Leeds, was available, having recently ended a 3-year season spell at the La Liga side Rayo Vallecano. Iraola oversaw an 11th place finish at the Madrid-based club last season, earning promotion to the top tier in his first campaign in charge in 2021. His appointment comes after Gary O'Neill's departure was announced earlier today. He took over as interim coach following the sacking of Scott Parker in August and was given an 18-month deal in November. But that's it on sports. My name is Isaac. Back to you, Iyai.
Thanks, Isaac. Now, for entertainment news, let's join Simon Oko.
Thank you, Uyai. In the world of entertainment, popular comedian Anita Osoha, popularly known as Real Worry Pekin, has revealed that her suicidal attempt made her venture into the rib-cracking business. Now, she said that she took the decision in a bid to motivate others who are going through similar challenges. The mother of 3 said starting comedy helped her heal from the trauma. Real Worry Pekin said she has been receiving testimonies of how her motivation talks stop others from committing suicide. Moving on, guys, OAP Dotun has cried out to say that he hasn't seen his kids in 10 months. The Nigerian on-air personality Kayode Oladotun, popularly known as Dotun, has cried out over his inability to have access to his children. Speaking on the occasion of the 2023 Father's Day celebration on Sunday, in a post shared on his Instagram page, the OAP stated that it had been 10 months since he set his eyes on his children, stressing that he missed them so much. He went on to say that if you are a father out there for posterity and goodwill, fight for your place or right to stay in the life of your children, and that every child needs their father just the same way they need their mother, so no one should use children as their power or substitute their emotions. In the world of music, Rema's Calm Down becomes most played song on American radio. Nigerian singer Divine Ikubo, popularly known as Rema, has become the first African artist to score a #1 hit on the Billboard overall US radio charts. His song Calm Down, which featured American superstar Selena Gomez, reached top of the chart this week. Now, the song garnered 97.68 million audience on American radios during the week under the review to achieve the historic feat. Calm Down beat Miley Cyrus' monster hit song Flowers to become the most played song on American radio stations. Now, the song is currently charting at #3 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, and it is projected to displace Flowers from #2 next week. Moving on, Omale drops highly anticipated Boy Alone Deluxe. Our Nigerian superstar Omale has finally released the deluxe version of his debut album Boy Alone. Since he broke into the scene in 2020 with his hit debut EP Get Laid, Omale has become one of the hottest Afrobeat acts whose music has earned him millions of fans across the globe. On the 15th of June this year, Omale released the highly anticipated deluxe of his debut album Boy Alone. Now, the deluxe version comes off the back of the release of So-So Remix featuring Ozuna, which was his first release of 2023. The deluxe features 2 guest appearances, with UK rapper Ige appearing on Imagine and Latin pop superstar Ozuna appearing on So-So Remix. That's it on entertainment. My name is Simon Oko. Back to you, Uyai.
Thank you, Simon Okor. And that is all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum TV News at 9. I am Uyai Aniekan. Thanks for watching, and I do hope that you have a very restful night. Good night, and see you again tomorrow.